Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this episode of my tutorial video channel. This is part 7 of interaction between demand and supply and equilibrium price and quantity in the market. I have been discussing different scenarios of interaction between demand and supply through different parts under this heading, and today I would discuss another scenario involving two markets. One is a global market and the other is a domestic market. Correct? And the scenario goes like this. The government of a country imposed a ban on import of automobiles for a long time. Now the government is lifting that ban. So long the ban existed, that is the ban on import of automobiles existed, the price of automobiles in the domestic market was quite high related to the price of automobiles in the global market. Why government imposed the ban? We have seen that many third world country governments impose ban on certain commodities import in order to protect, nurture and develop the domestic industry and of course the domestic economy. Now the result may be good or bad, I am not going to that controversy. But the thing is that in a particular country the government imposed a ban on import of automobiles for a long time, say 5 years, and now the government is lifting that ban. Okay, so the scenario goes like this. The government of a country imposed a ban on import of automobiles for a long period, and now that ban is being lifted by the government. Show the impact on the domestic automobile market. Correct? So as I have said earlier that when you are going to discuss this kind of scenarios, start with the assumption that that equilibrium exists in the market, that is there is an equilibrium price and equilibrium quantity, and always think of the side of the market which is impacted by the change. Now I shall draw two diagrams, one for the domestic market and the other for the global market. The first one is for domestic market. This is domestic market. And this one for global market, market of automobiles, On x-axis we measure quantity and on y-axis we measure price. Suppose D sub 0 and S sub 0 are the domestic demand curve and supply curve respectively. So the equilibrium price that prevailed during the period of ban is P0 and the equilibrium quantity is Q0. Now come to the global market. Let D sub 0 and S sub 0 be the global demand curve and supply curve of automobiles respectively. So the equilibrium price is PW and equilibrium quantity QW. This was the situation during the ban on import of automobiles into that country. Right now the government is lifting that ban. That means the exporters of foreign countries are now free to export automobiles into the domestic market. Now you can see that the equilibrium price in the domestic market is much higher relative to the global price of automobiles. Now as a result of lifting the ban, in the domestic markets, automobiles will be sold at the global price. So after lifting that ban, price of automobiles will come down from P sub 0 to P sub W. Okay, because now this country is importing automobiles from the global market and the price at the global market is P sub W. So automobiles will be sold in the domestic market at this price, that is P sub W. Now you see, at this price, consumers will move down the demand curve to this point. So as prices fallen, quantity demanded will increase to say Q sub D, and at this price producers are ready to supply Q sub S. As prices fallen, now the producers will be ready to supply lesser quantity of the goods. That means at P sub W price, only Q sub S number of automobiles will be sold in the domestic market. But how much is the demand? The demand is Q sub D. So after lifting the ban, when the global price and the domestic price become equal, there is excess demand. So excess demand in the domestic market is equal to Q sub D minus Q sub S. This is the amount of excess demand in the domestic market. But the producers in the domestic market are not prepared to fill up this gap. Why? Because prices fallen from P sub 0 to P sub W. Now in this scenario, what will happen? This much of quantity, that means this much of automobiles will be sold by the domestic seller at PW price, and this excess demand, that is the gap between number of automobiles demanded and number of automobiles supplied, will be met by the government by importing the automobiles. So QS will be supplied by domestic suppliers and the rest, that is Q sub D minus Q sub S and Q sub D minus Q sub S will be supplied by global exporters. So this will happen, correct? And only one price, P sub W, will prevail in the market, in the domestic market. Now apart from this, some other things would happen. What are those? Number one, domestic production of automobiles will fall. Domestic production of automobiles will fall. We can see it is falling from Q sub O to Q sub S. Number two, as a result of fall in production, employment will fall. So number two, employment will fall. And very important, number three, as production is falling, investment will also fall. Investment will fall. This all will happen in the domestic market only. Correct? So, as a result of lifting the ban on import of automobiles, only one price, that is the global price, will prevail in the domestic market, and at that price, which is much lower than the equilibrium price in the domestic market, suppliers will not be ready to sell or supply the required quantity demanded, because now the consumers will move down the demand curve and reach at this point, say this is point M, and they will demand QD units of automobiles, but suppliers are ready to supply only Q sub S units of automobiles. So this remains the gap between demand and supply, that is excess demand in the domestic market. Correct? As a result of this, these QS units will be supplied by the domestic supplier. This is Q sub S. Q sub S units will be supplied by the domestic suppliers or domestic producers, and the rest, that is Q sub D minus Q sub S, will be supplied by the domestic exporters, foreign global exporters, and ultimately what will happen? Domestic production of automobiles will fall. Number two, as production is falling, employment would fall. And number three, as production is falling, investment in automobile industry would fall. So these are the impacts of lifting the ban on import of automobiles in the domestic market. Correct? So far so good. This is all about this video. I hope this is well understood by you. Still, should you have any doubt in your mind, if you think any point need further clarification or explanation, or if you have any particular query, please feel free to let me know through the comment section so that I can respond to all your relevant queries. And if you think this video is beneficial for you, please do share the video with your friends, brothers, sisters and colleagues. And finally, thank you very much for watching this video. Stay well and goodbye.